This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome
This
to Chicago.
Doors
Oh
open
my
on the
God, the
left
loop
at
is on
Chicago.
again.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
Technical difficulties. The Wi-Fi went out earlier, so it reset all my settings. So welcome to Chicago. This is the TCSF podcast with Big Z in the house. We got JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football, and the two Northeastern bros are going to handle it tonight. No Surge, no Stevie B. So episode 198 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago sports fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago. Use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Get your official shirts now. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or the X, hit that subscribe button, hit that favorite button, give us 5 stars. Make sure you leave some kind comments in there. It'll shoot us up on the charts in there, and we'll be a little bit more successful. So remember to support your local podcaster. You can also support us by going and getting a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go over there and click on the support button and subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. Little raspy there. Smash. Thanks. On this live episode, we'll be talking about the Cubs and the White Sox and what it's going to be a long summer for both franchises. It's going to be a long one. So, Cubs split against the Reds, and, we will talk about what Jed needs to do with the Cubs. The White Sox break the streaks. They're no longer streaking. And what trades are coming.
However, the Cubs did take out the White Sox.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that. We'll talk all of that. All right.
We're going to talk about it. Oh, yeah.
JC, how was your week, bro?
Oh, man. Let me tell you, I am on vacation starting as of today, this morning.
Nice. Did you freeze there? Yep. You definitely froze there. Sounds like you had a really good, so did your laptop, a good long weekend since it froze. It must have had a bunch of those margaritas leave around there. And that, there he is. He's back. It looks like your laptop was drinking margaritas.
Did you lose me? I don't know what happened.
He froze.
Yeah. So, my week, it was interesting. I'm on vacation starting as of today. Have to go back to work on Sunday for Father's Day. Some other guys asked off for Father's Day. So, me not being a father, I guess I don't count. I don't get to have Father's Day off when I request it. So, that being said, good for my coworkers who are fathers. They get to spend some time with their families, I guess. Other than that, I'm looking forward to some rest, relaxation, let my body heal up a little bit. The job I do, my body takes a little bit of a beating. So sometimes it's nice for my feet and my knees to, not have issues for a week.
Yeah. How about you do a little bit of a cold plunge, man? That'll relieve a lot of that inflammation on the joints, man.
You know what? I've looked, the one thing I want to do is I want to get a sauna.
Do both. I mean, do the cold plunge to wake up and do it for like 10 or 15 minutes if you can, or as long as you can. And
I've been looking at they got some of those like it's almost like a zip up tent kind of thing, with like some infrared red light, sauna type stuff with steam and everything. So I kind of looked at that a little bit and I was like, I don't know. But yeah, the cold tub stuff does kind of intrigue me a little bit. I just don't know if I want to have to buy bags of ice every time I want to use it,
yeah, facts, yeah.
So I got to look into it a little more. If there's one where, like, because I know they make cold tubs where it's got like a whole motor in it and everything, and they're super expensive. But if I can find one that's halfway reasonable that I don't have to go buy bags of ice, I might do it.
Yeah, just go to get an old refrigerator and retrofit it to your needs, sir.
Yeah, I have seen that where they've done that too. But then most of the time, like, if you're not using it frequently enough, like, it'll actually ice up completely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like you got to sit there and chip it, and yeah, it's a headache. So, but
A little
how's your
salt.
week? How's your week going?
Oh man, dude, it's finals week for
You're
the.
free, right?
I'm sorry.
You're free, right? All from the
Not
kids.
not yet. I mean, Wednesday's the last day for finals for the underclassmen. Last week it was the upperclassmen. But I signed up for summer school. I haven't done summer school in a long time, and it was too good of a deal to pass up. It's 3 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 1. Nice little chunk of change. I don't have to do anything. I just got to be the adult in the room and make sure that they don't set the building on fire. Other than that, they're on their laptops, clicking away on whatever class they failed. So it's really going to be easy money, and I can work on pod stuff while they're doing that stuff. So it's a win-win-win-win. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that kind of sounds like how I was, teaching my college classes. When I was teaching those, it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like 9 a.m. to noon,
Yeah,
and I got a nice chunk of change. It was sweet.
yeah,
I love that gig.
yeah. Those college gigs are very sweet.
Damn.
Other than that, I mean, let's see. I've been catching up on some TV. Been watching the NBA finals. Let's see what else.
I have not watched a single game of the NBA Finals
You're not
at
missing
all.
much. You're not missing anything. I do want to watch tonight's game for the NHL playoffs, the NHL finals, the Edmonton and Florida Panthers. So
Mhm.
that should be pretty good. But other than that, I have not actually watched no Sky games, which I missed one. I missed the last one. So, but
Yeah,
there's a
I've
lot
been
of
trying to keep up with this guy a lot more now that
yeah, they
Angel
lost the
Reed
other
and all this
day.
stuff
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we want to talk about women's basketball. Let's talk about it right now. We talk about the Caitlin Clark. Everybody's up in arms about this issue that she was not selected for the dream team that's going over to France, to Paris. And you know what? I'm fine with it. She doesn't need to be on the team. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's year one. Would it, her being the face of quote unquote quote the WNBA right now? Yeah, I can understand why some people are upset. However, has she earned it? Has she deserved it
No.
based upon her actual play? I don't know. I know there's some vets. I was Facebook, surfing earlier, and they were posting like Caitlin Clark's numbers versus this veteran's numbers, and Caitlin did have better numbers, but again, it's when you're going up against countries and different stuff, it's not bad to have the veteran leadership, for the team. So, like I said, it's year one, it's season one. Like, will she have like half a season under her belt so far? Not even.
Right.
So, like I said, I can understand why she wasn't selected. But like I said, she's going to be selected the next time around. That's going to be for sure.
She's going to be on that team for the foreseeable future. So the thing is, when I looked at what the USA team looks like, you got Ariel Atkins, you've got Chelsea Gray, you've got Ryan Howard, you've got Joel Lloyd, you got Sabrina. I can't say her last name. Is it Ion School? You got Kelsey Plum. You got let's see who else. Deanna Taurasi. You've really got and Jackie Young. You've really got a bunch of veterans or
Yeah.
ladies who have been playing for a long time who've actually produced numbers that are better than Caitlin Clark, except for one. Excuse me. I think that's for Taurasi. But you know what? Taurasi's won like 5 championships, 8 championships, 10 championships. Who knows? A lot. A lot of
I think she might have been the one they used like number wise.
right, because she's like 40.
Yeah. Because like Caitlin did have better numbers than her in like everything except for I think it was 3-point percentage shooting.
She's 42.
Yeah.
Deanna Taurasi's 42 with like a whole shitload of championships. I will take Deanna Taurasi any day right now.
Like I said, it's that veteran leadership. I agree with you. I'd much rather have that on the team than Caitlin, who, for all things that we've seen, she is turning the ball over a little bit, making poor choices on the passing side, like I said, it's something that she's got a little more growing to do, in my opinion, before she deserves it. And like I said, yes, she's the face of the WNBA right now, but that doesn't mean she needs to be on Team USA or anything like that yet.
No, and also the selection starts way before
Mhm.
she even got drafted into the WNBA. So they've got to practice together. They've got to know the playbook. It's a different coach. This is all going out while she's still playing at Iowa. So yeah, you're not going to get that opportunity. The timing just doesn't line up. Also, you've been playing nonstop. I don't think she's going to have enough at the end of the season or towards the end of the season when they play in Paris, enough in the tank to carry a team. And I mean, if you think you're getting hit hard now, wait till you go to the international game.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, you got to look at it from the standpoint of, I mean, she's used to playing in college where, again, I don't know what women's college, how many games they play, but I mean, they had a very short off season from, the Final Four to the draft to the WNBA games. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. And like you said, I mean, that's a lot on a body, which, I mean, granted, 21, 22-year-olds, I mean, they shouldn't be as, athletically out of shape as a 40-year-old, by the end of the season, I would hope. But, if as a person coming out of college who's never played, 90 games in a very short season, because again, you figure they just wrapped up Final Four. She might have had like, what was it, a month and a half until the draft. And then boom, WNBA started up pretty quickly right thereafter. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she's putting a lot of mileage on her body. And like I said, again, you want that veteran leadership that knows how to take care of themselves, that knows how to deal with injuries, that knows how to deal with international travel and time change and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, she'll have her time, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, we'll stick with more basketball news before we head into our baseball stuff. Dan Hurley rejects the Lakers offer, stays at UConn. The Lakers offered him, I believe, $70 million on a 6-year deal. He said he was humbled for the entire experience and the offer and this and that, but he at the end of the day was wanted to stay with his championship team at UConn. I mean, I don't blame him. I would want to go to the Lakers.
I have to send you a hilarious. It's I don't know who the guy is, but he like always pops up on my Facebook, or he does a lot of stuff on the NFL where it's like jokes and the quarterback room, and then like he pretends to be all the different quarterbacks and like is talking smack to each other. But he did one for Dan Hurley today, and it was basically like him being interviewed by the Lakers, and they were telling him like, yeah, well, first off, you got to get used to the broom closet because LeBron has your office. And then you will also have to get used to giving Bronny 20 minutes a game because we will have to Nepo baby him. And like, it was this whole like thing. And at the end, like him being Dan Hurley, he was like, yeah, I'm going to pass. And they go, okay, JJ Redick. Like, and like they just pivot to like, and they're like, yeah, I'll have to send it to you. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, you look at that situation, and like I said, if they really are going to draft Bronny and Nepo baby him, like the Lakers will be an absolute disaster, in my opinion. To go from UConn having like one of the best teams, and that was another thing in the Dan Hurley video. He's like Bronny wouldn't have broken my like he wouldn't even ever come off my bench in UConn.
Water boy.
And I got to give him 20 minutes a game. No,
not at all. Yeah, he's gone 16-11 over the last 2 title winning seasons. I mean, why would you want to leave that? I mean, yeah, it's more money. He had signed a 6-year, $32 million deal with UConn after the 22-23 season. Yeah, it's a lot more money. But with the Lakers, you're scrutinized about everything. And like you said, if he's not giving LeBron or little Bronny his minutes and, not bowing down to LeBron, he's going to get fired right away. If the Lakers go on a 5 or 10 game losing streak, he'll be fired right away. Like, it's not worth the headache if you're, you already know to build a championship culture and a winning culture. I would not want to go to the Lakers.
No, and that's the thing is like, he's going to go there for 2 years, and when it doesn't work out, they'll let him go. And basically it's because nobody listened to him. Yep. They only listen to LeBron and what LeBron wants to do and what players LeBron wants to bring in to play with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen it. Like, they brought in Russell Westbrook. What happened? Like, he was gone. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron thinks, the players he wants to play with were great when this was like 2010, 2012. Like, a lot of these guys now, like, they're not the same player anymore.
No.
Russell Westbrook is not the guy he used to be. So, and no offense, like, the younger guys that want to go play with, Anthony. Anthony
Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards. Like, they want to go play with him. They don't want to go play with a washed up LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, the game is changing now. Like, people want to go play with Giannis. They don't want to play with LeBron. They want to play with Anthony Edwards. They don't want to play with LeBron. Like, they look at LeBron and they realize he is not who he once used to be. He's still good. He's still a great player.
Yeah.
But he's not that guy anymore.
No, he's not that guy anymore.
And like I said, the dynamic of the league is changing. Like, you look at the guys like KD and you look at guys like LeBron and, I mean, even Steph Curry and Clay and Draymond. I mean, none of these guys are who they used to be anymore.
Nope. Father Time is undefeated, and he's kicking everybody's ass over there.
Yep.
Wanted to transition to your favorite sport, football, and it's actually Chicago related here. Mercedes Lewis will continue for his 19th season after he signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears today. He spent 2023.
Man defeats time every season.
That guy's going out.
Father Time is not defeated. Mercedes Lewis, you are doing it, sir.
He's going for it. He's the oldest tight end to play. He turned 40 in May.
He's a great depth piece for the Bears. He is a great blocking tight end behind Everett and behind Kmet. He'll have a role, but he might get 6-7 plays a game where he's blocking for a running play or something like that. But he's got a very specific role, and like I said, he'll be on a team making $1 million, $2 million. I don't know what he signed for yet. I don't know that information has been released, but
no.
You know what? Props to him. I mean, hopefully he's got it in his contract where he doesn't have to show up for OTAs and all that stuff. Just show up when the season starts. Because, man, at 40 years old, like you always hear about these older veterans that are just like, when they get up there in age, they're just like, I can't go through training camp.
No, they can't.
If I could just show up for the season and play, or like if I could show up for the last 6 or 8 games, the season, and like play in the playoffs, like I would do it. But my body cannot go through, 23 weeks, or 27 weeks.
I can't do it. I can, when I teach, is like I'll pick a period. I'm like, I'm playing 1 period. I cannot play all 5 or 6 periods. I will die. There's no way my body can handle that. Even if I do work out 2 or 3 periods, I feel it for 2 or 3 days. I'm like, I'm sore, this and that, which is great. I get to move around, but as a 40-plus-year-old, no, I just want to show up for the game. I'll do the stretching. I'll do the treatments. I'll get the massage. I'll be at the facility, but I'm practicing, for Thursday to play on Sunday. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
When I was student teaching, like it really, like, first off, I always loved playing with like the first graders and the kindergartners, because like we would all like I think it was like Fridays we did it was like a Pac-Man game where like you could only walk on the lines of the court, and like it's
the tag game.
so,
Yep.
I always love playing that with them. And then it was like a tag game, so I would be like the defender of Pac-Man or whatever, and I'd be tagging all these little kids. And then it was the 8th graders, man, because they try to talk smack, and Mr. Howard, you can't do oh really? Okay. Spike in your face during volleyball. What?
That's different. Yeah, when it comes to team sports, yeah, you get
that or it was floor hockey. Floor hockey was the other one that I would go out there and dominate, because they all crowd to the puck, and I'd be on the other side waiting for one of these little kids to hey, pass it over here, and I'd be like, slap shot in your face.
Yep. Definitely.
That face-offs, oh my god, I would destroy these kids in face-offs.
Yeah, last year I played 1-on-7 and beat them 14-2.
Yeah.
So that just shows you that the old man can still do a little bit. But let's take a quick break before we dive into what is the Cubs demise. At this point, I don't know what's going on. I want to call it the demise because they're not moving anywhere. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15. TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to Nowhere on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with Big Z in the house. We got JC Dynasty Fantasy Football, and it is time to talk about our baseball teams. And we're going to start off with the Cubbies. Oh, we don't want to hear the song?
No, I love this song.
I got to turn it off because, YouTube will shut us
we'll
down.
get hit.
Yeah, we'll get hit for that one. It is a popular song. So go Cubs, go. The Chicago Cubs split against the Cincinnati Reds. They did.
We're gonna glance over the White Sox straight to the Reds.
They did. I was there on Tuesday when we were up 5-0. Yeah. I wasn't gloating too much. I was cheering for my team. I wasn't gloating. But I knew the wheels would fall off as soon as the starting pitcher was taken out after the rain delay. I knew that was going to happen. I even told all the Cub fans next to me, especially Ivan. Thanks, Ivan, for the ticks. I had a great time. And then the next day when Steven went, it was exactly the same script. Sox jump up to an early lead, 5-1. And then when the starting pitcher exits the game, boom, 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 and they walk it off and win the game. So congratulations. You beat a high school baseball team.
Well, but see, I feel like what you just described is the Cubs right now against every other MLB team that are not named the White Sox. As soon as our starting pitchers are pulled out of the game, it's it's over. We're getting shellacked. It's we're now dropped to, I believe it's 4th in the division.
Yeah, you guys are all tied. You're a half a game out of last place. You're 10-2 when Shota pitches, and not on a good record when he doesn't pitch. But you're looking at a lot of issues with your offense that's just on and off. You're 32-34. The Cardinals, Reds, and yourself are all tied for 2nd place behind the Brewers, who are 38-27 with their new manager.
Yep. Well, we were promised a better product on the field, and
But he didn't do anything to give you that. He said that, and then
they brought in Shota, which has been a great improvement.
Yes, Shota has been a great improvement.
Bringing Belly back and bringing some of the it's the one thing I do have to say is at least they didn't sign Belly for big money.
Yeah.
So that's the plus, is that they didn't give up on their stance, and they got Belly for decent price. But really no improvement. And I mean, how do you outbid the Dodgers on when they just make up new rules and sign people for whatever the hell they want and we'll pay you 30 years down the road, but yeah, I mean, like I said, we're in it right now, and it's not even the dog days of summer yet, and we are struggling right now. And I don't know how we get out of it. The Reds, I mean, they took it to us. They 3-2, 3, whatever. I barely kept up with the score, but De La Cruz, I mean, that guy is looking like a star.
Stud.
Stealing bases and just doing everything. Like I said, I mean, he's looking like the Javier Baez, and Javier Baez is looking.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that a little bit later about the fallen stars of Chicago. But you got Cubs and Reds first game, 4-8 Reds, 3-2 Reds, 4-3 Reds, and then the Cubs win the last game to avoid the sweep, 4-2. The Cubs are playing tomorrow. They're playing a 3-game series in Tampa before they come home to play the Cardinals for another 3-game series. The Tampa Bay Rays at the moment are, I think they're like in third place. Actually, they're in last place. They're 31-34. But that's probably the toughest division in baseball with the Yankees, Orioles. The Red Sox are at 500. The Blue Jays are 1 game under 500. I can't believe the Blue Jays have fallen so far from grace. And speaking of the Blue Jays, so there's talk that Vladimir Guerrero is on the trading block, and that the Cubs have been talking internally about maybe making a splash for a first baseman in Vladimir Guerrero. And I looked up what would be a good trade package, and you would have to give up a lot because he's under control for a couple of years, I believe, 2 years, this year and next year, I believe. You would probably have to give up Christopher Morel, which I don't think that's a big give up. Michael Arias, which is a right-handed pitcher, outfielder Brendan Davis, and Yondrik Pinago. So 2 prospects, Arias, who's been up and down, and Morel, who has not lived up to what he could do. I think Morel's a utility player that can play everywhere. I don't really think he's a third baseman.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking up Vlad Guerrero right now. 25 years old, so
yep.
How long is he under contract for?
I think this year and next year.
Well, I mean, also, like, if you get a chance at negotiating with him first, I would do it. Why not?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I mean, like you said, what prospects are
suspects.
You don't know. Yep. So I'm down for it. You know what? First base. I know Tauchman had the hit that saved us. I think versus the White Sox or whatever team it was recently. But to me, first base can be improved on. That's for sure. Like you said, third base is definitely suspect for us right now. When you go down the line of, where can the Cubs improve? It's definitely third base. It's definitely first base. I think our outfield is pretty okay.
It's decent. Right, yeah, it's decent. You brought up Pete Crow Armstrong. He's playing left field. Yeah. Happ is really good defensively in center. And then
Suzuki is.
Yeah, you got Suzuki who can play both. Yeah. Right, and then you have Cody. So you can swap those guys out to give them some rest. Put them at DH and so forth. So I really think the outfield is pretty much set if they do complete this trade. Then you actually have a first baseman because you've been putting anybody and everybody at first base, and that's not the answer. But you also have, Hap has been up and down. Wisdom is really not the answer at third base or on the MLB lineup. Horner's falling off a little bit.
Morel's hit or miss right now.
Right. David Bodie got called back up. He was in the minors most of the year. Like,
I like Bodie. What was it, like 5 or 6 years ago, or
right.
was it like when he was like it might have been 2016, 2017, or but like I think it was like after Bryant left. Like I did, right. It was like I liked Bodie. Like he was doing okay, and then like he kind of just fell off. It's
figure you out. They figure you out. It's as simple as that. I mean, I'm looking at the lineup for the Cubs. Morel batting 203, Bellinger 260, Michael Busch 242, Suzuki 272, Happ 222, Swanson 226, Tauchman 261, Wisdom 200, Michael Amaya with his hot garbage at catching. He can't block balls. He can't call a game. He can't hit. Him and Yan Gomes, like 198, 155. I think Chicago has the worst catchers. And we got Maldonado, who's batting like 069 or something. We have the worst catchers in a city. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Contreras was good offensively, but I mean, he couldn't call a game or frame a pitch either. Yeah. So I mean, this has been an ongoing issue for the Cubs for a while. At least Contreras did give you a little bit of offense, with his bat, but like I said, I mean, yeah, calling a game and, framing a pitch, making it look, a ball look like a strike, they have not been very good at that.
And it came out today, and this was a courtesy of David Kaplan on ESPN 1000. He told the story that, he had multiple incidents where he would have a bad game, or he'd be pissed about something, or getting into it with another teammate, and he would literally break iPads, like slam and throw iPads and break them in half, and not once, not twice, but multiple times. And that was one of the reasons the Cubs were like, we can't deal with your anger management. You're gonna have to go. So it looks like him being a hothead was his exit ticket out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I mean, the one thing I give him, I mean, he had such an arm. Him and Javi was amazing to watch for that period of time, just basically nabbing everybody out at second, for that period of time. But yeah, I mean, it was fun to watch those two, but like I said, yeah, when it came to calling games, I mean, you watch a lot of the veteran pitchers with the Cubs, and they were like, yeah, no, we don't want him catching for us.
Yeah. Another trade possibility would be to tap into the Rockies and try to steal their catcher, Elias Diaz. He is a veteran. He's 33. He is batting at the moment 305. He's got 13 walks, 28 ribbies, not a lot of home runs, but he is making contact and getting on base. So he's good. He's a decent catcher behind the plate. He can call the game, and he's actually hitting. And I think this would be a really good addition. You get a veteran that can hit, and you get him off a crappy team that really isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, again, I would want to look at his contract. I mean, just like with Vlad, is it a 1-year rental? Is it multiple years?
So in 2021, he signed a 3-year deal. So he's literally, his contract's expiring this year. So it was a 3-year, 14.5. So you're looking at about $4 million per year, but at the point you trade him, it's going to be a lot less.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what we would have to give up to get him. Batting 305. I mean,
yeah,
that's a decent bat. So, like I said, I mean, depending on what you got to give up to get him for a rental, is it worth it to us in the long run to give up prospects for a guy that's a 1-year rental when we're now 4th in the division?
You're not going to give a highly touted prospect for a rental. You'll be giving up a double-A guy or two single-A guys, or even cash. So, you can do that. So, I mean, at this point, the catcher position needs to be addressed. The
Yes.
bullpen needs to be addressed. First base needs to be addressed. You need a big bat in that lineup because Swansby has never been that guy. Bellinger goes in streaks where he gets hot and doesn't. Suzuki, I think he's easing his way back since the injury. Hap hasn't been consistent. You have a lot of inconsistencies both on both sides of the baseball. So it's really hurting the Cubs right now because you had such a hot start and now you've just faded into the background.
Yeah, and like I said, something I should probably take a little more time and look into is how these guys are taking their at bats. Is it like Morel swinging for the fence, or like I said, back in the day, you could watch Chris Bryant and Javier Baez. They just want to swing for the fence. They don't.
Yeah.
They're not swinging to get on base. They're trying to go for the glory. So, are we having an issue where these hitters are doing the same thing, or have these pitchers just finally caught up to us where they know, hey, they can't hit low and away. They love chasing a slider in the dirt. Like I said, this is something that needs to be looked at. And the Cubs, do we not have a stats team that is also looking at all this and telling the players like, hey, you need to lay off this stuff. They're killing you, or this is a real issue, for your at bats, and again, I would assume we have to have a statistics team, for this team, but
yeah, they get their
like I said,
iPads
with all the scouting reports. Yep. So, like I said, something's got to give. We definitely need to start playing better, because, like I said, to be, we were expected to be way better than we are this year, and to be fourth in the division, it's like I said, and like right now, like there's no, like, hey, we're playing pretty well, we're fighting, and we're just losing by one a game or whatever. Like, no, we're getting rocked 8-4. And like, we're not looking like there's any offense to, be spoken about at all. So,
yeah, and also you're looking at this is year 4 of the Jet administration, so it's like it's time to put up or shut up. It's time to put the cards down on the table and ante up. I really think that everybody can tell about who has the best farm system. The top 3 guys will either come up or you use them as trade chip to push you over the edge. The Cubs are not there. They're not in that winning, we're going to win this year, right? You've got the Orioles, you've got the Dodgers, you got the Padres, the Texas, the Yankees who have been killing everybody. You've got those upper echelon teams who are ready to win right now. And those are the teams that will, they will have prospects that are expendable. And they'll move forward. Like, we don't care. We're trying to win the championship. The Cubs, not so much. I think they're meddling whether, are we middle of the road or can we compete? He said that they're going to compete. Okay, if you're going to compete, then you got to sign players. You got to trade for players that are impact players. And those 2 players would make an impact. They would give you a shot in the arm. You need that. You also need another starting pitcher. We've talked about this multiple times on this podcast. They need another starting pitcher. Again, you're going to have to give up to get. And that's the problem is, especially in Chicago, we are very attached to our prospects. So I don't know what Jed is going to do in the last couple of weeks.
I mean, it's to me, the only prospect is this pitcher that is it Horner, the one that just had I think it was a lat issue. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And he got pulled, but I mean, he's the only guy that I can think of that is the only one close enough to coming up. To me, no other guy is off limits, in making a deal, in my opinion. Like I said, for the Vlad deal, if he's controlled for one more year, I'd be all for it. The catcher that's a rental, if we can get him for some lower prospects, like you said, like some AA guys or whatever, I'd be all right with that. Yeah. But to me, it's just, at 34 and 31, it's like, what are we looking at? We're 4th in the division. How far out are we from Milwaukee? Can we get back in this? Because they got to go on some winning streaks to get back in this.
Yeah, they do. They gotta win series, and that's the biggest thing is win series. You're talking about Cade Horton. Yeah, he's expected to be with the club this year, later on this year. You also have Owen Casey in the outfield, but you have a logjam in the outfield. You have Matt Shaw at third base, but he's not expected to be up here till next year. Kevin Alcantara has had a cup of coffee back and forth. James Chiantros, another one for 2025. You have a lot of guys that are coming up in 2025, and I talked about Michael Arias being the trade chip, another right-handed pitcher that's a bullpen arm for 2025. Guys that are not fully developed yet, not ready for the show. Those are the guys that you might have to use to trade.
Like I said, the bullpen issue is, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Like I said, we definitely need to fix the bullpen. I mean, even during the World Series, our bullpen was an issue until we traded for Chapman. And then the year after Chapman, I forget the gentleman's name. It was K something.
I know what you're talking about because he was on the White Sox. Is the next we traded for.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but he was another supposed name that was yeah. But like I said, we have never really had like a top 5, top 10 closer ever.
No, and you could have gotten Hader, Josh Hader. You could have gotten Josh Hader. He was a little pricey. He was still a free agent for a long time. You could have got him. You didn't, and now you're paying the price because you don't have a clear-cut closer. And if you're going to be a contender, you need someone to slam the door in your opposition's face and close it. And just you need a guy that's got the balls to do that, and they don't have that.
Well, not even that. I mean, like now with the way baseball is, with your starting pitchers only going 5-6 innings. I mean, you got to have those middle
relief guys, long relief,
that can come in and also slam the door in their face. So unfortunately, the game has changed where these pitchers aren't going 7-8 innings anymore, and then you bring in a guy for one series. The Cubs will catch fires.
Israel, I really hope so, man, because it's dire on the south side, so I need something to be exciting over the summer because I was waiting for baseball season forever. After the Bears, had their lackluster year, I was excited for baseball. I'm always excited for baseball, and the fact that my team really, really sucks, I wanted to see at least the Cubs do something and be exciting, and they've literally pissed on their leg the last month and a half. I don't know what's going on with the Cubs. I don't know what the thing is to fix it. They're not wasting too much energy. This isn't boxing. This isn't boxing where you can take a round off. It's NL Central.
Okay, you can take one game off in the series, but you still need to win the series.
You still need to win the series, right? Yeah, usually teams, like if you're winning the series, you give up the last game because it's a travel day. You're like, whatever. That happens a lot. But right now, it's time to put your, the foot on the gas and start, pulling away because the trade deadline is going to change a lot of these teams, and these teams that were not as competitive a month ago are now competitive. The Pirates are right there with you. The Cardinals are right there with you. Cincinnati just beat you, and they're ahead of you in the standings. If they catch fire, which I think they've won 8 straight or something like that. They had won 8 straight or something. Those are the streaks that will launch you ahead of all the other teams. And if you're not going on those streaks and if you're not winning series, you're going to be left behind. All right, what is it?
Like we were talking about, with Vlad Jr. and all this stuff, basically, like you said, hey Jed, this is your time. You said we were competing. Are we competing, or was that a lie? Because like Belly's got outs on his contract, all this stuff. So it then becomes, we're a middle of the road team, and unfortunately, middle of the road teams, you don't get to draft very good prospects. You're not getting that top guy in the class. You're, like I said, when the Cubs won the World Series, we had a lot of very young talent on low payroll, which allowed us to go get a lot of starting pitchers, allowed us to spend money elsewhere, which, unfortunately, Hayward was, he is what he was. It was a mistake. It was a bad signing. defensively he was good, but his bat was,
very lacking. Yeah.
lackluster. But, like I said, you had Contreras, you had Javi, you had Chris Bryant, you had Rizzo, you had, all
Hayward.
these younger players that were on low contracts.
Yeah.
And it allowed us to really spend on those starting pitchers. And that helped us win. And, I wish we could be more of a dynasty than one championship in 100 years, but it's hard unless you're the Yankees or the Dodgers, who, like we said just maybe 10-15 minutes ago, where you get to spend whatever you want and you don't care. And
they can do that.
I know, I know the Cubs had a lot of financial issues during the pandemic, where they had committed money to revitalizing Wrigleyville and real estate, and they couldn't make their money back on concessions and everything else. So, like I said, I mean, the Marquee Network, I don't know if the Marquee Network's going to work out.
No.
I think there's a lot of fans that we're getting to a point where people are tired of the taxes, and by taxes I mean I got to pay for Netflix, I got to pay for Amazon, I got to pay for Peacock, I got to pay for Marquee, I got to pay to watch whatever sport I want to watch. I have to have 9 subscriptions, and to me, like, it's getting to the point where people are getting to where, like, I can't afford to have all these bills, so
no, completely agree with you. It might be cheaper just to go to the bar to watch your team. Depends how much you drink.
Exactly. That was when I'm like, if I go to the bar, let's see, I'm probably gonna have 4 beers, or at least like how many rum and cokes, and then by the time I do the math on that, and then by the time I tip, and then afterwards I'm gonna be hungry, so then I'm gonna have to so I'm looking at about $70 for one night. So it's like I might as well pay for the year subscription to Amazon.
People are criticizing Council or Ross. I really don't think Ross was good with the bullpen. Council really doesn't have the talent that he had in Milwaukee, and that's the biggest difference. Milwaukee has a great pitching staff up and down. They have really good hitters that have been proven, and it's going to take some time. I would not have a hot dog.
Even Madden had issues with the bullpen. Dusty Baker, killed our pitchers.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at guys like Wood and Pryor, and
blew them out.
I mean,
blew their arms out. Yeah.
So we're used to managers not being able to, take care of a bullpen and do what's right by them. So have a hot dog.
Yeah.
With ketchup?
No ketchup.
Come on.
No ketchup. All right, let's take a quick break.
For those of you that don't know, I went to Portillo's not too long ago and made sure to send these guys in a group chat a photo of me dipping my hot dog in ketchup. So
sacrilegious. Oh boy, what does Israel have to say? Our bullpen is fine. They'll get it fine-tuned. I mean, I hope so. I mean, there's talent on there, but I just don't see anybody that can close the door in the middle relief. Or he said, absolutely not. Don't make me sick. All right, Israel, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15
for 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
What up? It's Martin Moreno, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast.
Thanks, Martin. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. I am Big Z, and I'm here with JC Dynasty Fantasy Football, and Israel's been chiming in the entire time. Thanks, Israel, for staying on and checking out the show and chiming in. He says, I'm about to puke thinking about ketchup. You know what? Stay tuned because I do have a stir in a pot that includes ketchup. So I don't know if you're going to be sick.
I have a good stir in the pot as well that I need to.
Beautiful. We
I've
have
been holding
two.
on to for like 3 weeks. So yeah.
Beautiful. Let's talk some Chicago White Sox baseball. I guess I can play the sounder for a little bit. I mean, come on. Why not? Why not, right? Do I have
They got one win. Play it.
They got one win. I'm thinking. There we go.
Was that 13 losing streak?
14. I don't want to get clips. The White Sox. White Sox. Israel's he's hot and ready to chime in. The White Sox, after having a 14-game losing streak, 14. Actually got to win. They got to win, and it came at the cost of the Carmines, the Red Sox. They should have won 3 out of 4, but splitting a series after losing 14 ain't so bad. And I'm really hoping that they can start playing 500 ball the rest of the season, and I'll be happy with that. I do not want them to have the worst record because it makes no difference, because I think they can't pick any higher than 10th. Which that's the new rule, because if you're in the lottery the year prior, you can only pick it so high the next year. They're trying to quit the tanking, which was Pirates, Athletics, all that stuff that continue to tank and then just sell off their players once they get good. So that's that. The White Sox are also taking calls on Kopech, Crochet, Fetty, Robert Jr. Robert Jr. is only 26, signed through 2025. He has team options for 26 and 27. He's a 5-tool player, but the problem is he can't stay on the field. The Dodgers, Phillies, and Royals all need outfielders, and they will be making calls. And then you're looking at the Padres, who need a pitcher, and they're willing to spend. So they're looking at trying to get Crochet. I hope they don't trade Crochet, because I think he's a centerpiece that you can build around as far as your pitching staff. But they just lost Darvish and Musgrove. Also, you got Pham, who got into it with one of the catchers. Might have been from the Brewers, yeah. Contreras, the younger brother Contreras. He got into it with Tommy Pham. Currently on a magical IL. I don't know. He says his leg is hurt or whatever, his ankle. Suspect. And then you also have DeJong, who's been pretty good. Pham and DeJong have been veterans that have been actually shown up to the ballpark, been professional, done their job. And they've been doing it. Let's see what Israel has to say here. Israel says, I was actually impressed with the Sox did against the Red Sox. Yeah, they actually played like an actual baseball team, while the Red Sox did not play as well. They could have swept them. Yeah, they could have, but it's the White Sox. Let's see. Tear it all apart. I mean, that's what they're doing. They are tearing it all apart. You will see most of these guys will be traded by the trade deadline. Someone's going to need a shortstop. Someone's going to need a second baseman. Someone's going to need an outfielder. If they trade Robert Jr., which I hope they don't, because I really think that if you keep those two young bucks together, you'll be able to build and you'll be able to have them while everyone else is coming up, and they'll be good. Again, they're on cheap contracts, very cheap contracts. So I think it's beneficial for the White Sox to keep them. If they trade from, Chris Getz has already talked to multiple teams saying, this is exactly what I want for player A, player B, player C, player D. This is what I want. This is my price. Meet it or kick rocks. That's how Chris Getz is actually functioning. I can respect that, because he talks to all the whole league and say, this is the price. Either you're going to meet it or not. Either way, I got talent. We'll figure it out. But for those veterans, I think those guys will be gone sooner than later.
Well, I mean, hopefully for you, that is definitely the case. I mean, like you said, I mean, nobody ever wants to see their team struggle like a season like this. And unfortunately, like you said, I mean, you got decent players that can't stay on the field. You got a couple of good pieces that might be of value to other teams. But right now, the White Sox are playing for their pride more than anything,
Yeah.
And like I said, it's same thing with the Cubs. I mean, you got to look at yourself and you got to say, hey, you know what? We're tired of losing. We're playing for each other. Forget the fans right now. Forget all the outside distractions. Forget everything. Like, we got to get this right on the field. And like I said, I mean, it's horrible that the White Sox are given what they were given, but I think the plan was to rebuild from the get-go. So like we kind of understood, like you're going to have to suffer for a year, maybe two. And then hopefully we can put something together after that, which I mean, like the Cubs, I mean, how many years, we'd go get Nomar Garcia Paro, we would go get Soriano, and we would just be middle of the road. And sometimes being middle of the road is not solving the underlying issue, about getting better. So, hats off to the Sox. They have a plan. Unfortunately, it's a plan that, fans are probably not going to like. They're probably, upset with it. They want to see a better product on the field.
Yeah, we don't like it because we just went through a rebuild and we were supposed to be, the queen of the ball. We were supposed to be in the playoffs year after year with all this talent that finally came up. And then you sign these, these veterans just like the Cubs did. They followed that same blueprint and it just blew up in their face. And I think, a lot of it had to do with Jerry Reinsdorf cutting the legs out of Rick Hahn and saying, nope, you can't get this good manager, AJ Hinch, who ended up going to Detroit. I'm going to put in my guy. Yeah, did they win? Yeah. I mean, I think he was literally asleep at the wheel and they won 93 games. And then the year after that, when he managed, what happened? They didn't win that. They didn't go to the playoffs. That's exactly what it is, And then you had cancers in a clubhouse that were fighting with each other. Tim Anderson, getting knocked out. That was literally the last straw for the White Sox. That was it. Once he got knocked out, the whole team was knocked out because that clubhouse was toxic. Everyone hated each other. No one was doing what they're supposed to be doing. No one respected anybody. There was no leadership on there. And right now, there is still no leadership with Pedro Grifol. Like literally, the last game we had bases loaded and he had Maldonado hit. 2 outs, bases loaded, and he let Maldonado hit. Like, it's the 6th inning. You have a good catcher. You can put anybody on the bench that hits a lot better than him, try to score some runs. But he didn't do that. Like, I don't understand how we continue to hire managers that have no experience being a manager, do not have a proven track record. You could have got Bruce Bochy. You could have got one of the best managers. What did he do? He won a championship with Texas. That's what he did. Because all he does is win. He won 2 championships in San Francisco. He's a winning manager. Puts the culture in. He's the leader. The buck stops with him. That's what you need. And people are crying for, sell the team, sell the team. Yeah, they can sell the team. You still got to be able to have an ownership and a group that's going to put a winning product on the field. And they don't do that because they get so much money from people going to the, to the games, the stands, the shared revenue. And guys, Jerry Reinsdorf owns 20% of the team. There's still 80% of the team that we have no idea who owns the team. All right. It's as simple as that. So when you say just Jerry Reinsdorf, you don't know what you're talking about. There's more to that. So
yeah, I think another issue is, like Chicago is a big city, but you also have to figure, I mean, we're supporting the Cubs and the White Sox, and yeah, I know, like, okay, LA is supporting the Angels and the Dodgers, but let's be honest, they're supporting the Dodgers. And then you sit there and look at, okay, New York has the Mets and the Yankees. Yeah. Let's be honest, they're supporting the Yankees. Yes. Okay. So, when you look at Chicago, like, even though there's 2 teams, and even though I'm a Cubs fan, and I think most people support the Cubs.
They do.
I would say it's probably like a 54-46 split, where there's a pretty even split between the Cubs and Sox in the way of fandom. So when you sit there and look at the revenue of one city going to one team, it's that spending money. Like I said, it's not as much as when it's an 80-20 Angels versus Dodgers, money wise split.
Yeah. It's hard because there is a huge passionate contingent of Sox fans. They just do not go to the games because there's not a winning product. They're not going to put money in Jerry Reinsdorf's pockets because there's not a winning product. And again, the Cubs, whether they're winning or losing, they have the full ballpark, and that's great. It is a touristy thing to do.
Yeah.
It really is. People come, they visit
there's history in
Chicago.
Wrigley, being
There is. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that.
Them in Fenway.
Right. And then you have the bar district right there. So there's stuff to do for, if you're 21 and up and you want to go party, you can do that all night over there. You can go to a Cubs game, enjoy your time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. They built that culture, and that's perfectly fine. That's why it's fun to go over there. As opposed for the White Sox, it's different. It's a little bit more family oriented where, everyone goes there, they tailgate for a couple hours, then they go inside, and then if you want to bring your family, it's accessible for you to walk around with your family. They got stuff for the kids to do. You can walk around the entire ballpark. You can do the the meal package where you can, all you can eat, all you can drink before the game underneath the right field bleachers. They do bar crawls. They do a bunch of cool stuff there. But it's just like we mentioned multiple times on this show. It's a Reinsdorf thing. It's a Reinsdorf stamp on it where we're going to make the ballpark, we're going to make the stadium a lot of fun, but the product may not be the best.
Yeah, I mean, like I also think it's partially the neighborhood the field's in as well. Like we were, as we discussed, earlier in the season when Reinsdorf wanted to, acquire the new property and potentially put up a new stadium and everything like that. I think that could help as well. Again, with a little more safety and security in a different neighborhood, but again, then you lose, the parking lot, then you lose, the tailgating aspect, so it's kind of give or take,
Right.
But like I said, I mean, I've been to Sox games, I have friends that are Sox fans, and I've gone and done the all you can eat meal or whatever it is, like you were talking about below right field and everything. And then we ended up sitting in the outfield, like right by the bullpens.
Yep.
And, you talk smack to, the players that are in the bullpen. But like I said, to me, I just, when I have the choice of going to a Cubs game, which again, I am a Cubs fan, or going to a Sox game that, the tickets are $5 or $10, I would still go to a Cubs game just because of the neighborhood, because of, the other attractions around, like you said, where, hey, a game's out, like we could still go to a bar and,
right,
and
walking
have a good
distance,
time,
right.
Or there's plenty of restaurants. You can go to a restaurant and get a good meal after the game, so again, a little more infrastructure around White Sox field, guaranteed rate field, I think would help them a lot.
Yeah, I think that would help. Last note for the White Sox, they are calling up Drew Thorpe. He is 23. He was in the Dylan Cease trade this past March. He's ranked number 41 in baseball and 53 in the MLB pipeline. He'll make a start tomorrow. He was also part of the Juan Soto trade from the Yankees and the Padres, I believe. Yeah. So the kid's been traded a couple of times. So you're looking at a pretty good pitcher. They're calling up to see what he can do. We have a lot of pitchers on the IL. So I'm excited for this. That's one game I will watch for the White Sox to see how this kid does. So I'm really excited what is up in store for the White Sox, especially for the youth. Let's see. Chicago has the best passion fans. Yes, they do. Yeah, 100%. And then what else did he say?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at sports fandom, in my opinion, the only other town, in my opinion, is Boston.
Austin. Yep.
Because I mean, like I said, you look around LA, there's so much to do in California, and the weather's so nice. You know, like yes, the Lakers are sold out every night, but other than the Lakers, I mean, you sit there and the Dodgers as well, but it's you know, oh, are we going to go to a Lakers game tonight, or are we going to go to the beach, or are we going to, there's just other things where you look at Chicago, like, I mean, the games are almost sold out every night,
Right.
For whether it be the Blackhawks or whatever. I mean, Chicago just loves to support their teams.
100%. All right, we'll take another small, quick break, and then we got one more point. Go for it.
Yep. Trevor Bauer watch. Rumor of the Astros, because the Astros have been completely decimated. So there's a Trevor Bauer watch.
Yeah, we'll let JC continue his Trevor Bauer watch, which I actually really appreciate because I love watching his videos on Instagram. But
I just want to see, like, come on, somebody give the man a chance. I mean, I know all the issues and everything, but
give him a second chance. Give him a second chance. Let him prove it. Still
throwing 94, 95 miles an hour, still, doing his thing, but like I said, it'll be interesting. I mean, to me, if he could sue the MLB and prove, like, hey, you guys are trying to keep me out of this, just out of spite, I don't know.
Yeah, the Cubs could definitely use him. All right, let's take this quick break and we'll come back with Stirring the Pot. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Where's my thing? There we go.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15
for 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, this is Mikey O, and you're listening to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Don't forget to visit Mikey O at Mikey O Show or www.MikeyOShow.com.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with Big Z. Today we got JC Dynasty Fantasy Football filling in with lots of Cubs stuff. It's usually not his wheelhouse, but he's handling his own today, baby. I love it. Israel's been chiming in all episode. Thank you, Israel, for being a supporter, for listening. We really appreciate you being part of the show. We love it. Come back every week. We surely love talking sports with you. He wants to know if you can make him an Italian beef or a Chicago style hot dog.
If I can make one,
if you can make him one.
I mean, I cooked dinner tonight for my whole family. I mean, made a nice gnocchi with a white creme sauce and steak and portobello mushroom and spinach. So, like I said, I got culinary skills that y'all don't know about. So, but I can put together a hot dog with onion, mustard, sports pepper, and a cucumber or pickle, if you will.
And some celery salt. He said he'll fly to Chicago for that hot dog.
Just buy you Portillo's. It's literally a block away from me.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go with Stirring the Pot. That's what we do. We talk about food or other things that might stir the pot. So what's my boxing thing? I'm so discombobulated today because I moved a bunch of stuff around. So I have one and I saw this, and it's a TikTok thing that people came out with. I am not going to try it, but I do want to talk about it. So let's really get ready for Stirring the Pot. All right, this TikTok challenge or TikTok trend that's going on is including ketchup. It is grabbing a regular Kit Kat bar and dipping it in ketchup. I'm not making this up. I love Kit Kat bars, but I am not dipping any one of my Kit Kat bars in ketchup. What about you? Because you're the ketchup man, JC. Would you try that?
No, I wouldn't. Like I did burgers in ketchup. Like I did French fries, which French fries I actually. So if you give me potato skins, it's ranch. If it's a French fry, it's either barbecue sauce or ketchup. So one of those two. But like when I was a kid, man, I used to eat steak and I used to dip it in ketchup. My dad was always A1 sauce. Now, salt and pepper only, like butter that thing. Like,
butter it up, right?
Sear it. Now I do things properly, but like I said, when I was a kid, we're
you
talking
were a kid.
10,
that makes
12,
sense.
It was ketchup, like
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, yeah, like burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I use ketchup. Like, I still love a Chicago dog with, like I said, all like everything on it. I do pull the tomatoes off. Unfortunately, I'm not a big tomato fan unless it's on a BLT. Otherwise, like I don't really care for tomato for whatever reason on a BLT. I love tomatoes on a BLT, but otherwise, like in a salad and whatever, I don't really care for tomatoes. In general,
is it a texture thing or is it texture or taste?
I think it's a texture thing. I think it's like, you bite into a tomato and it like gushes and not a fan. But yeah, I mean like sliced tomatoes on a burger, fine. On a hot dog, I pull it off. I don't know why. I'm a strange person.
Yeah. It says tomatoes give you so much energy, I guess. Yeah, they do have potassium. So that's it. What is your stir in a pot?
Okay, so my stirring the pot, I feel like will be way more controversial for you, sir. So I have a coworker who is a huge Selena fan.
Okay. My
question is, and my stirring the pot topic is, do you think if Selena was still around, would she have broken more of the barriers of like the crossover Latina American, would she have had the staying power as a major artist?
100%.
Because like we know, because like I said, we know her staying power now and that she still has a huge fandom. But like I said, like 3 albums down the road, 4 albums down the road, do things start to taper off? Does she start changing up her sound and then some of the fans lose interest?
I really don't think so. I think because she had just started crossing over with her English album and she already had her Tex-Mex fan base. Her that's literally her, her cement fan base that no matter what she did, she was getting the support. She was going to cross over so big before she passed away. Her English album went like triple platinum, whatever, when she passed away. Obviously that kind of happens, people just buy and listen, but there would be no J-Lo. And look where J-Lo's at with a lot less talent. And Selena is a better looking woman, in my opinion, better looking woman. She spoke both languages perfectly fine. She was crossing over with a bunch of different artists. She would have been offered movies easily, and I think she would have been able to still have her English fan base and her Tex-Mex fan base, and would be still touring to this day. I really believe that because she had so much talent, and she started her own clothing line when she was like 16 or something like that. So she definitely was crossing a lot of different barriers at the same time, and then so many people came out of Selena. You have like Los Dinos, which is her band. You had the Cumbia Kings, which is her brother, and then you had the kids that broke out of the Cumbia Kings. Like there was so much talent around her as well. It's sad because that was such a unfortunate way of losing one of the greats. We will never know.
Yeah, that's and like I said, my whole thing is because like you bring up, some of these bands nowadays, whether it be like REO Speedwagon or Journey or,
Right.
they were so popular in the 70s and everything. I'm going to see Billy Joel next weekend.
Yep.
So, Billy Joel, amazing artist, has a huge fan base, but it's one of those, like I said, after the third or fourth or fifth album, you start to see a little drop off in some of the, album sales or, whatever it may be. The songs are not the hits, that they once used to be, of that.
I see what you're saying, but if you look at if you were to compare it to like Taylor Swift, right? She has her Swifties. No matter what crap she puts out there, her Swifties are going to buy it and they're going to swear by it. The Beyonce fans, same exact thing. They will follow her to the end of the road, off the cliff. You have that fan. She would have that fan base where they would literally protect everything that she did. And if you, especially in this social media living lifestyle that we have now, where everything is up to the minute, and my opinion matters more than yours, she would literally have her own Swifties and no one would be able to touch her.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm getting at is like, would she be like a Madonna now? Yeah, I mean, like where, which I mean, Madonna is still selling out concerts, still doing pretty well
Yeah.
from
So is
my
Janet Jackson.
understanding.
Yeah, a lot of
But,
these older,
but
yeah.
a little past their prime, is the interest still there for seeing someone like,
I think it's different because she has such a
that was
huge,
another person I was about to bring up was Richie Valens.
Yeah.
La Bamba, same thing, where it's, would
I don't think Richie
Yeah.
Valens would have had such a
Yeah.
hot career. That one I don't think, because if you listen to the original music, that's not sung by Los Lobos, which is the album that people think that he sounds like. He doesn't sound like that. If you listen to the original album for Richie Valens, it doesn't sound that clean or that great. Also, he was 16, 16, 17 when he died. I don't think he would have had the longevity. But for Selena, I really think that because of her fan base, her Latin fan base, just like Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony hasn't put an album out in 3 years. And then he puts an album out and it's like, it's okay. He's got one good song on there, but he sings all the hits. Just like Billy Joel is going to sing all of his hits, and he'll like, hey, I got a new album out. I'm going to sing one or two songs, probably the most popular songs according to their, the research. That's what's going to happen. I think that would have been it. I mean, that's a great question, but I think that's exactly what would have happened, because you have Mark Anthony that still was touring. You have Juan Gabriel. You have Vicente Fernandez, Alejandro, all these Spanish artists are still touring, into their old age. Ramon Ayala is like 70, and anywhere he goes, he sells out. You have a lot of this Spanish contingency that will follow you over and over, no matter what you do, and they'll see you 2-3 times a year if you come.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I thought it was a great topic because, again, one of my coworkers is just every day I walk into work and she's sitting there with Selena playing, and I was like, man, just like thinking about it, it's like she was the Shakira before Shakira.
Yes.
She was the Jennifer Lopez before Jennifer Lopez.
Yep.
And you just sit there but at the same time, you look at like some of these older bands, like I said, from the 70s, where like they have their hits, but like as time goes on, like their new stuff, nobody wants to hear the new stuff. Like they want to hear the hits. And it's I
do see that. But you see a
nobody
lot of
wants to hear the new Bon Jovi stuff. They want to hear the old Bon Jovi stuff. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So
I think I know what you're saying, because I can think of a couple of Latin artists. You're like, yeah, the old stuff is a lot better. The new stuff is not that great. But then there's other Latin artists who continue to make good music. Like Mark Anthony's a good prime example. He'll still make really good music. Is it the type of music he was making 20 years ago? No. But he also started doing freestyle in New York. He was a freestyle singer. Then switched over to salsa and then more like boleros and doing this and that. So he evolved. And I think she would have evolved as well, singing different things, collaborating with different people. and I think that she still would have been successful. Would she be like top of the charts, like like the Taylor Swift every year? I don't think so. Yeah, Gran Combo is a good example. They're all in their 70s and still touring all of Latin America, and when they come to, especially when they come to Chicago, they sell out. Are they selling out arenas? No, they're selling out the smaller theaters, like the Rosemont Theater. Whatever seats, like 5,000 to 7,000, whatever seats there, or the Allstate
Aragon
Arena.
Ballroom constantly has
Oh yeah,
stuff for the Hispanic stuff, and I mean they're sold out. And like my brother works a lot of the events for like the medical staff there, and I mean he's always like, oh man, they show up in their cowboy boots. They are decked out to the nines, like dressed.
It's an event, and they know they're going to be there all night, and they're drinking all night, having a great time, and it's literally jam packed where like the crowd is really dancing. You're not dancing, the crowd is literally moving you around. And I've been to those in my younger days, and they're great. They're great. Yep. But that was a great question, JC. I really do appreciate that one.
Yeah, I think we spent like 25-30 minutes just on that question.
We spent 20 minutes on that one. Yeah.
Like I said, because again, like to me, it was a great stirring the pot question, because I was like, man, like, do we think she would have longevity? Like, would she have been like a Madonna? Like, if everything had not happened the way it happened, could she have broken through and been as big as Madonna, or name another female artist? I don't want to say Taylor Swift, because Taylor and Beyonce are kind of on that above a whole nother level. But like I said, like, potentially the Madonna, the Shakira, that second tier where still selling out arenas, United Center and everything like that. To me, it's just...
I really definitely think that she would have been able to sell like the United Center out, because especially because she was so close to her brother, who's part of her band. Definitely could have been like, oh, I'm bringing back my brother's band, and they're going to be with me for this tour. Bam, tickets are sold out 3 nights in a row. Israel, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate you. Israel, thanks for chiming in. I think we should just wrap it up. We're almost out of time. We did really good time today, man. Awesome.
Yeah. So we did almost an hour 30, and we talked like no sports.
We talk
compared to Selena.
Yeah, we talk Selena. We can talk Selena all day. So everybody, thanks for listening. A big thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for a 15% off your entire order. TrueFan15 is your promo code. Go and get your shirts now. I'm in the lab. I'm literally editing one of the episodes. I interviewed a comedian, very funny dude, and I got about 3 or 4 more interviews lined up in the next couple of weeks. So July 1st, look out for more episodes for Intoxicated. Really interview based, get to know people, give people some light to their career. Maybe you may not know them, or maybe you do know them. So it's a really cool show. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. You can also check out Steven and Sean on No Water on the Weekend every Monday night-ish, Tuesday, whenever they post. I don't know. Sometimes they're off. So that's a funny show, especially when I'm on it. We need to get JC on that show, but he usually works Sunday. I mean, well, you can do Friday nights, can't you?
I get out of work like 10:45, so I mean, I could probably join in halfway through. I don't know when you guys start recording normally, but
no, he starts recording about 7:30. Yeah, but I mean, by 10:30, we're
hammered.
It's post, that too, post game. Definitely. Everybody, give us a follow. Give us 5 stars on your podcast app, on YouTube, on X, whatever it is. You can follow us you can follow JC at JC Dynasty FF on all of his socials. You can find me at Big Z _606 Media on all my socials. Give us a follow, share with your fellow sports. Thank you, Israel. Are your fellow sports enthusiasts, and tell them about the show. We love to have new fans. Come on, talk sports with us. Thanks, Israel, for chiming in today. And for JC, I am Big Z. We'll see you next time for episode 199. And until then, before I sign off, I want to say rest in peace to former Bull that he just passed away this week. I wanted to mention that. I totally forgot because I got so caught up in everything. Our former Bull, Jesus, I had it up here. Why did I just lose my train of thought? Here you go. Chet Walker, who passed away this past week. So condolences to his family. And he was also a really, really cool person and a great Bull. So until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.